Alright everyone, welcome back. My name is Alex and this is going to be kind of me coming back into Guild Wars a little bit here, and I kind of came up with a new idea, and that is doing a Let's Play of Guild Wars Factions. So there have been a lot of Let's Plays of Guild Wars Prophecies, which seems to be a lot of everyone's favorite campaign, me included. And I want to do something a little bit different. Actually, I'm going to go through the Factions campaign here, or at least get started, see what people think, and we'll go from there. So anyways, Guild Wars. Factions came out in 2006, I believe. It was the first major expansion to Guild Wars, and it was a little bit of a long time coming. I remember playing Guild Wars back in 2005 and really loving it. I mean, I really got into it. I was getting into guilds and PvP, trying to get up the ladder and a whole bunch of theory crafting and things like that. I mean, a whole slew of characters, as you can see here. This is actually my original one here. This is Kayla. This was my very first one, and I still got her, and she's been at my side the whole way. So it's always great to have her. But one thing that happened in Guild Wars in 2005, it started to get kind of stale. Yes, there was Sorrow's Furnace that came around, but we kind of ran through that content, or it didn't engage us that well. And basically, there was a whole year between Guild Wars and Guild Wars Factions. Yeah, and during that time, I kind of drifted away from Guild Wars and I went into EVE Online. So now I am thinking of doing Guild Wars Factions again as a Let's Play playthrough. So as I mentioned before, we have a lot of prophecies, but not so much factions and Nightfall. So we're going to get started, okay? So I got a new character slot. I don't even know when I got this. It just showed up one day. Maybe it was an anniversary gift or something. I don't know, but hey, I got it, and let's use it. Let's see what happens. So I'm going to create a character, and this will be a role-playing character. Yep. And as I mentioned, we're going to go with the Asian theme here. We're going to go into factions. Okay. Clicking next. Now, with the two expansions, there are, of course, 8 classes. Okay, so you have the Core 6 that is in all the expansions, the Core 6 professions, and 2 expansion professions. Of course, here in factions, the expansion ones are the Assassin and the Ritualist. So anyone who plays faction usually goes with those 2. I'm actually going to switch a little bit here, and I'm going to go and do something different. I have one character for each and every single class in the game, so none of these classes here are particularly new to me, although these 2 are probably a little bit newer, but I have separate characters for those. So let's see, what do I want to do? Do I want to do a monk? Do I want a ranger? Mesmer? Elementalist? So before, I had an Elementalist, which I completed factions on, and I believe I had a warrior that completed factions on. So I'm going to restrict to these 4: Ranger, Monk, Necromancer, and the Mesmer. And you know what? Let's do... Should we do Necromancer? Yeah, I don't want to supplant Caitlyn, but yeah, Necromancer is always interesting to play. Let's do... let's do Necromancer. We'll do that one. Okay. So we got a choice between male and female. I'm gonna go male this time. Some other characters are female. And let's take a look here. You can see the throes of indecision. So we got some hairstyles here, some pretty wicked stuff. Let's take a look. There's a little bit of that gray there. Okay, that's an interesting hairstyle. Okay. So it's pretty basic. That's kind of a claw. I like that one actually. That one's pretty cool. Okay, face. Let's zoom in here. So we got... There's not a whole lot of options, as you can see. This was fairly basic back in the day, but it gets the job done. It doesn't look too bad. And actually, I do like that one. Hair color, you can change up the hair color. And let's see. Green, white. There's always a dash of gray here. We got a little great looking gray. Actually, we'll go with that one. Looks very good. We have a pale white, a little bit of color. We have black, we have very dark brown. Actually, let's do the very dark brown. We're going to switch it up here. Next. Okay, so with the Necromancer, they have a scar pattern on their face. That is kind of their helmet, so to speak. So we'll go from there. It looks great. Actually, it doesn't look too bad. We'll keep that actually. Body scale, let's make him a little bit shorter. Okay. Armor is kind of this gray. If I go purple, what does it look like? Yeah, it doesn't look bad. Actually, this doesn't look too bad actually. Actually, the default colors actually look okay. So we'll go next. And let's see here. What should we call him? Let's call him. Kintobi. Let's do that. Let's see if this name exists. And it does. Okay, so let's start Guild Wars Factions. Here we go. Very cool setting. If you like the Asian setting, this is the place to be there. 200 years have passed since the Jane Wind remade the face of Kantha. But the Empire of the Dragon still needs heroes. And guess who gets dragged into this? For decades, young Kanthans have come to Xingjie Monastery to learn from the greatest living hero of Kantha. A ritualist known as Master Togo. Okay, so here we are. We're going to get started. Now, one thing about factions that was a little bit of a bummer is they kind of use these chat screens now. So, greetings, students. Welcome to Xingjie Monastery, Kantha's premier training academy for young heroes. You've been invited here because you show great promise. You may talk to Instructor Ning to learn the basics, or you may come with me and we will enter the monastery now. And that's exactly what I'll do. I really miss a lot of dialogue here, but as you'll soon learn in a little bit, Factions is a little bit of a disappointment in the dialogue department. In Prophecies, it was really good. In Nightfall, it's quite good. But Factions, I don't know. Some of these characters just sound really odd in comparison to their character. So that's one thing you gotta kind of take with a grain of salt with Factions. A lot of people consider Factions to be kind of the least greatest, you could say, expansion of the main Guild Wars campaigns. It's unfortunate, but I think a lot of people share that conclusion. Ludo. I'm Ludo. Welcome to the monastery, young one. I trust that your time instructing the was informative. If you cannot learn it here, it may be that it cannot be taught. Okay, so we're going to seek out Headmaster Kujo. Oh my, young Necromancer. How very exciting. You should report to Headmaster Kujo in the monastery. She will oversee your Necromancer training. Enjoy. Alright. So, let's see. We're going to head into the monastery. Yep. And I am ready. Let's do this. And here we are in the monastery. There are a few people here. And we're going to go from there. So I got my guild cape. This is actually my guild. A guild of one, of course. So that's the only way to roll here. And this is the starting area of Guild Wars Factions. Okay, we're actually already level 2. We got 3 main skills. Deadly Swarm, Vampiric Gaze, and of course a Resurrection Signet. Now, Guild Wars Factions, one of the criticisms of Guild Wars Factions was that the early start of the game, essentially your progressions from level 1 to level 20, is extremely rapid and extremely fast. And I'm going to demonstrate that here in this playthrough of Guild Wars Factions. I'm going to come up here, and in this circle we got all the headmasters of the main schools, and of course there are 8 of them. And right now, we're going to go with one with the exclamation mark and a little arrow pointing to them, Headmaster Kujo, and we're going to get started. That Ludo's so sweet, is he not? I love him like one of my minions. It's a little scary. we're going to grab the loot and the experience. Okay, child, I can see that one day you'll be a great necromancer. It'll be hard work. I'll be here to help you along the way. You must learn to love Grenth and all he stands for. You must care for each corpse as you would your own child. Yeah, okay. This is going to be interesting. You must accept death as an ally and study your curses and diseases with fervor. Do all this, you will surely achieve your potential. My grandson, Rang Ku, will provide your initial training. I trust his enthusiasm for our craft will rub off on you. Look for him in Sunkai Valley. Or Sunkai Vale, I'm sorry. Alright. Okay, she's got more to say. Oh, and I need to accept the quest. Okay, there we go. And I got another life siphon. Okay, so I pretty much know the necromancer profession inside and out. So this is kind of starting all over again, but it never hurts to go back and start over. Sometimes just trying new things or trying a different path or trying inside a different campaign can really refresh the game for you. And a lot of people that play Guild Wars a lot, it does tend to get stale. And it could easily do that. There's a ton of content here, but it can get stale. So we're going to jump into the first mission here, and we're going to get going. I'm going to come around here. Again, not too many actual players on. It's also kind of a weird hour. It's very late, so I'm not expecting a whole lot of people. And we're going to go from here. So here, of course, you have your henchmen. You can form your own party here. That's another thing about factions, because it's so fast, or maybe they just assume that everyone played Prophecies, which was probably a fair assumption when it came out. They don't really explain heroes or how to use them, or henchmen or how to use them inside Guild Wars factions. They do a better job of that in Nightfall, and in Prophecies they're a little bit slower. But here in factions, it goes really, really quick. So there's kind of an assumption of tribal knowledge that you have before jumping in this game, and it's kind of a little bit of a knock on it. So let's see. Let's just grab a healer. We can form a party of 4. We'll grab a warrior, and we'll grab a ranger, and we're gonna head outside. But first, I'm gonna reorder my skills a little bit here. It's just how I do things. And let's see here. So I got 2 blood magic, 1 death. So we'll put some points there. And we'll call it, and 1 in soul reaping. Okay. And off we go. So if you were a brand new player starting Guild Wars factions, you would probably be wandering around a little bit here. But because, of course, I play this game a lot, I gotta know what to do. But it's kind of a little unfortunate they make that assumption. Okay. So we got a tamer here, and this is the first starting area in Guild Wars factions. This is Xingje Island. This entire island here is the main starting area of the factions campaign. If you make a native factions character, this is where you'll start out with. If you bring in another character from a campaign that, of course, you're already at level 20, you will not be at this island. You'll start on the main continent over here, which is right here. But for now, we're going to be spending quite a lot of time on this island, and kind of the entire run-up from levels 1 through 20 is, or should be, on this island. That's usually actually not the case. A lot of people get off this island like very, very early, and when they actually show up in the continent, they actually get stomped because the enemy spike is huge. So if you go into the Guild Wars factions campaign, don't rush this island. The higher you get up in your levels on this island, the better you'll be when you get to the continent. So that's one thing to keep in mind here. In most other cases, almost anywhere else in Guild Wars, you can rush it, no problem. But this is the one area you probably don't want to do that. And so we'll be spending quite a bit of time here. Okay, so we got a Resurrection Shrine, we got Collector. Okay, what's the Collector one? Okay, so she can give us equipment. And, okay, since I'm a Necromancer, I can use the Blood Knife. and things like that. And she is looking for 5 what? 5 Naga hides. Okay. And we'll go from there. And of course, you got your compass, you got your arrow pointing you which way to go here. So any kind of rudimentary knowledge of RPGs, you'll pretty much kind of know what to do. Okay, we're going to beat up this Mantis node drone here. And do I have any equipment at all? No, I do not. But I will equip the truncheon. Again, another thing about starting in this game, it just assumes a lot of tribal knowledge that you may or may not have if you come in cold or not. But anyways, I'm kind of now repeating the point, so it doesn't need to be repeated again. Okay, so we're going to come over here. And we're just kind of beating up the bugs. Alright. And of course, insects in this world carry gold. So unfortunately, they don't do it in my world. I could definitely use the money right now. And there we go. Now, Necromancer. The gameplay of the Necromancer is very unique. Or at least to me, it's actually very, very interesting in that you can do a lot of different things. So, for example here, you can take the life of your enemy and heal yourself. And that usually falls in the school of blood magic. You can debilitate or sabotage the enemy team, which is usually the realm of curses. Or you can command armies of the undead, which is usually in the realm of death magic. Or also do cold damage, which is also in several areas of death magic as well. Alright, so we're going to talk to Ranku here. We'll see what's going on. Grandmother sent you, I presume. Welcome to the life of death. Interesting. Okay, we'll get 100 experience, 10 gold. I'll grab that. Okay, so now we're going to test the minions. The nearby temple has been infested with mantids that should prove to be a very simple task for you. Their Green Mother, however, might be a different story. Eliminate the nest and return to me. Okay, so we'll grab that. And now we have 2 new spells. Animate Bone Fiend and Faint Hardiness, which is a curse spell. So let's take a look here. So Vampiric Gaze is my first spell here. I actually steal health from the enemy and get it to myself. This is actually a good healing spell. Life Siphon. I slowly drain the enemy's health and put it to myself. Deathly Swarm. There's 34 cold damage on up to 3 targets at this level. So this is kind of an area nuke. It's kind of functions that way. And of course, we can now create a minion. And we have a curse that will slow down their attack speed while damaging them. Okay, so I'll take him out. And down he goes. And we're going to make our first minion here. Isn't she beautiful? Look at that. Face only mama could love. Alright, so we're going to come in here. Jingyo Temple. Okay. Interesting. I've actually not started a campaign as a Necromancer. So this should be something interesting. So there's the Mantid. And down it goes. Alright, create another one. There we go. And down it goes. Okay. So one important thing is open the Y key. That is your minion's status right now. So there's actually a separate health bar for your minions. And they will die. They do slowly lose their health over time. And also the number of minions you can control is determined by the level of your death magic. So keep that in mind. The higher your death magic, the more minions you can control. That used to not be the case. The number of minions you had was not tied to your death magic. And people would be walking around with like armies of minions. We're talking like nearly 20 of them, and it would just stomp the whole game, basically these things. And there are ways to keep the army going, even though their health slowly does degenerate. Also around, you're going to see these chests, Shinjei chests. Now, in order to open these chests, you need a key, which actually I do not have, but I can buy one. And inside them, there could be good items for you. unique pieces of armor, maybe some runes, or other junk. Could be a weapon that you don't use. So it can be a little bit hit or miss. So heading back over here. And my faithful minions may not be long for the world, but one thing that the AI does, though, at least the healer AI, they will keep your minions alive as much as they can, which may not be what you want to do, because if you're in combat, you want your healer AI to be healing your team, not necessarily your rotting dead minion. Are you finally finished? I was about to give up and head back to the monastery. Yeah. Okay, so we got 1,000 experience and 50 gold. I'll tell you all I can be bothered to. I'm sure you'll make a fine Necromancer, or more likely you will die trying. Oh, thanks for the vote of confidence there. My sister is waiting for you in Peninsula. Her name is Sue. She'll be absolutely thrilled to continue your studies. I just know it. Find her and tell her that we have completed initial lessons. Okay. So now we're going to the next area. Panjang Peninsula. So already you can kind of see this going at a pretty high velocity here. But it's beneficial, or it behooves you to actually not chase the trail so much, at least in this area. Again, as I mentioned before. So actually I'm going to head back into the main monastery here and see what I can get here. I'm going to get some items and things like that. Okay, down it goes. So actually I want to go back into the monastery, and then after that I'll go to the next mission. Because I want to sell off maybe a few things, see what we have here. We actually have nothing, but I do want to do some shopping here and see if I can get something. One thing I will give Faction, though, is that the graphics are quite nice, even in comparison to Prophecies. They really spent the time putting some detail in this world, which is quite nice. Okay, so we're going to head back in here. And we're back. So already here in the monastery, you're going to start seeing some side quests. And actually, I may take some of these. So we're going to talk to Ludo here, and we'll see what's going on. Are you heading on the Sunquaw Valley? Be very careful, young one. The Vale is a dangerous place, especially for a lone student. In fact, I was just helping yada 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 arrange a group to travel to the Vale. Maybe you should all go together. Invite at least one of them to your party, and I'll meet you in Sunquaw Valley. Once you arrive with your party, I will tell you more about the area and the dangers you will find. Okay, so there's 1,000 experience, 10 gold, and you get a monastery credit. And monastery credit is something you can exchange for better items here. Okay, that's nice. We're going to take a look over here. We're going to see if we can do some shopping. The other thing you can do shopping is skills, armor, equipment, things like that. So let's take a look here. So Zhao Di here has skills. And some of these are unlocked, and some of these you have to buy. Now, as you can see here, these skills open up as you open up in the game. The game has crossed your entire account. So because I have my primary character, Caitlin, who's already gone through the game and unlocked, I believe, every Necromancer skill, they're all unlocked. Okay, great. But you're going to get some of these skills just from doing missions, so you don't need to go on a shopping spree early on here. So it behooves you to wait and just see what skills you get with missions. Okay, so up here we've got armor and we've got weapons. And let's see here, what's what? And these are guys that will actually craft weapons for you. So you don't actually buy the weapon like you would say from a traditional vendor. You actually have to craft it. And you use different sets of materials to make the weapon that you need. And same thing with armor. And you get different types of armor as well. And you need materials and gold to make it. So you can't just buy it outright. Now, the thing about weapons, though, they drop a lot. So it's almost never worthwhile to actually craft a weapon. Almost always the weapons that are dropped in the game are better than the weapons you can craft. In the case of armor, however, that's a different story. Armor does not drop in the game, so you do need to craft that. And a lot of it's just based upon preference and whatnot. Alright, so we're going to go. And there's one thing I want to see here. And that is a merchant. Okay, there we go. So we got 2 merchants over here. So we'll open this up. And we'll see what they have. Okay. So they have a salvage kit where you can get materials. And you can get that Xingje key. Yeah? So right now, I can buy one of those. So I'll buy one of those. And if we come across a chest, I can use it. Okay. So I'm going to swing around this way. And since I took the mission from Ludo, if you push the L key, you will see your mission list. And you have your primary mission, track down Sue, and you have these kind of side missions. But they do give a lot of experience and gold and things like that as you move later on, so it is worthwhile. So again, we got our party already, so we don't need to reform it. We're going to head outside here. Okay, so there we go. And this time we're going to talk to Ludo. I'm pleased to see you out here, Jane Kintobi. As I said before, Suncal Valley can be a dangerous place. In addition to the usual mantids and kappa, you may find yourself facing more organized foes. The Naga have been sighted in the Vale in increasing numbers lately. I certainly do not need to tell you to be careful around those snakes, do I? You also see members of the Crimson Skull around the Vale. They are a little more than thugs and cowards, but be wary of them. They're led by a former student of this very monastery, you know. I think this is why Master Togo has been so lenient with them. He hoped his former student would reform his ways. Well, remember to take care of yourself, and always travel with companions. Good luck, Zane Kantobi. Go there, and you get 1,000 experience, 10 gold, and a monastery credit. And that's really all it's needed. Yep. That was probably the easiest mission in the world. So, I now have attribute points. Now, this is of course the rare case where I did level up in the field. You can allocate your points as you see fit. So I can crank up blood magic. I can crank up soul reaping. Yeah. What does soul reaping do? Okay, so soul reaping is the primary attribute of the Necromancer. What it does is that when an enemy dies nearby, you will gain a portion of energy. And so it's a very good natural way to keep your energy stores stocked up. And right now I have 30 energy, and that can go down very, very quickly in the heat of combat if we're not careful. Okay, and there's the Mantid. And down it goes. Now, one thing a lot about blood magic is that it tends to be, I guess you call it pure damage. So there's very little that the enemy can do to mitigate that. So if it says 26, you're going to steal 26. It bypasses armor. Other things such as cold magic or physical damage, that can be reduced via armor. Okay, so that's one thing to keep in mind. So ranges, for example, their armor is highly resistant to elemental damage. Fire, earth, air, cold. Those 4 main elements. So keep that in mind. It can be very hard to take down a ranger using nothing but elemental magic because they have a pretty strong resistance to it. Okay, so we got a copy here. We're going to take out him. There goes. 2 gold coins. We'll do the little camera spin trick. Alright. Okay, well, we got another copy here. And this one is fairly straightforward. So I can bring up my faithful minions, always faithful. And this is what I meant earlier. Weapons will drop all over the place, so it's never really worthwhile to craft a weapon, unless you need something very, very specific that you're just not getting. Okay, I double click the weapon to equip it. Okay, that's Earth Staff, which I don't really use. That's more for an Elementalist. So I'm going to keep my Blood Truncheon. And we're just going to take the road here. And I think we'll just go straight into the next province. If we come across Naga, we can kill some Naga and get their skins for the trader and get the blood knife. But we haven't come across them yet. There we go. Oh, and there's the Naga. And it goes down. Ooh. So we'll take health from him. My warrior's fighting him. And down it goes. Okay, so as you can see here, some enemies drop things, some enemies not. Actually, all enemies drop loot, just about. But because I'm in a party of 4, the loot gets split 4 ways. Yeah? So essentially, the AI takes loot in proportional to your party as if they were real players, basically. So if you're in a party of 4, you'll get 25% of loot, for example. That can be a little hard for trying to get certain items, and so we can go into something called farming, where basically you come out alone, and if you're at a pretty decent level with very good equipment, you can take these things on solo, and you get all the loot for yourself, which is great. But if you don't know what you're doing, you can die very easily. Okay, so we're in Sume village here. And it's a little bit different NPCs. We have storage. Again, we have another weapons vendor. I'm actually a collector up here. I don't think I've ever talked to this guy. Let's see what he wants. Okay, so he wants 5 feather scalps. And what it'll give us? It'll give us a bone idol. Okay, a bone idol is an offhand, and that's for curses. Well, that might be useful if I go with a curse build. So again, I am going to follow the arrow. Always follow the arrow. And you can even see the sign there, Panjang Peninsula. Now, the reason I'm seeing these names is I'm holding down the Alt key, which actually shows everything in the district with their names. So it's a good way to find something in case you get lost inside a village. Okay, and we're going to jump into here. And we're going to just take a look here. What we got going on here? I bring a message from the Crimson Skull for farmer Zhang Zhou of Sume Village. That's close enough. Speak and be gone. Captain Qi Meng of the Glorious Crimson Skulls Guild orders the people of these villages to pay 2/3 of their crops in tribute. We will starve if we give you that much. What you ask is impossible. We have many months to feed in our guild as well. Surely a farmer eats less than a fighting man. Farmers work to grow these crops. You do nothing to deserve them. We protect you against outsiders. None dare attack this village while we patrol these lands. You godless sons of Kappas, rob the village blind. I take it your answer is no. Captain Kimeng will not be pleased. You and your Captain Kimeng can go to the mists for all I care. Oh, I'm talking fighting words there. This is not the end of this matter, farmer. Go home to your master and tell him we have no further use for you here. Okay. Well, that went not very diplomatically. Never mind, the guardsman's right here hearing the whole thing. He's not doing anything. Okay, so if we bring 3 copper skull coins, that we have proof that we fought these pirates and thugs, we'll actually get a Xingje Scar pattern, which is armor of 35. Now, if I look here, I have the initiated Scar pattern, which gives me armor 5. So that's a big jump in armor from 35 to 5. So it'd be worthwhile to definitely gift that, especially if it's quasi free and if I can get 3 of these copper Crimson Skull coins. But right now, I got a different job to do, and that is I got to find this Sue. So if you use the M key, you can see how far relatively that dot is. So we're going to head down here. It looks like we got a bit of a walk. So we're going to head out of the village here. And we're going to Kaitan Village. Okay. Now, I remember there's kind of a split here, so we actually go to the left. Because we got the bad guys, the Kappa coming down here. But we'll stay with the Canton guards here. So these Canton guards kind of patrol the area. I think we just need to stick on the road here. Not that the Kappa are any kind of concern. They'll go down pretty easily. So I'll come up here, nothing so far. More Kappa, okay. And of course they have their little patrol pattern. But this time we're going to take them on. So that was the Deathly Flies, or Deathly Swarm skill. You can see it actually hit 3 of the enemies. So we actually picked up something here. Commas. Now commas are great, but they're used for assassins. But you see the little term there, unidentified. That means it has some unique trait or something that's associated with it, but I need an identification kit to know what it is. Alright, so we have a little bit of a cave up here. Okay. And the Crimson Guard. Okay, now those are level 8. Maybe I'm a little underpowered for them right now. So I'm going to sneak down here. And okay, we got several people down here. And now we have another Necromancer, Sue. I suppose my brother sent you. Oh joy, just what I need. Another novice to waste my time. Well, perhaps I can find a use for you if I put my mind to it. Okay, wonderful. So you passed my brother's test. Well, perhaps you could be of some use to me then. I need to clear this cave of Naga. They're a little more than pests to someone with my powers. But for you, perhaps they'll provide a challenge. In fact, this will be a good test for your abilities. Take a moment to review the skills I'm about to give you, then speak to me once again when you're ready to test your skills. Okay. So we got 2 more here. We got Barbed Signet and Foul Feast. Okay. So Soul Feast. Soul Feast. Exploit the nearest corpse for 65 health. Again, that's kind of another heal skill, but it's reliant on a corpse, so there actually has to be dead corpses around to use it. But this falls in the death magic line, while the vampiric gaze falls in the blood magic line. So it depends which specialty you go for inside your particular profession, but sometimes 1 or 2, or maybe even all 3 of them will have skills that will replenish your health in some way. Okay. Next up, Barbed Sickness. You inflict bleeding for 5 seconds on your target foe and all adjacent foes, but it will cost 8% of your health when you use it. Again, that is another blood magic type of skill. That's pretty common in blood magic and curses, is that there's usually costs in your health to use them, so you got to be careful. Ready to go finally? Here we go. Naga must be eliminated. Follow her. Okay, or follow me. So here we go. And there's the Naga. Naga whelp. Okay. I'm going right here. And boy, she just fires it off. Okay. And here we go. Go. Stick that there. go. So that's actually a ritualist. And there I used the soul feed skills. So I consumed the corpse, got 65 health for it. And Sue's just tanking everything here. So we're going to help out. It's a level 6. This might be a little more formidable. Raise a minion. Down they go. Okay, so she's using blood magic. I want to keep raising. Oh, and I got insta shot. Probably by that ritualist there. So what happened there was I think the ritualist nailed me with a pretty powerful spell because the ritualists do have some very, very strong lightning magic. And I'm probably a little bit under leveled here, but let's see. And one thing is, if you're using an AoE skill, kind of like this Deathly Swarm, if your primary target dies, the skill will fail to activate. Okay, there we go. These things are dying faster than I can trigger my skills, so they're dropping quick. We're going to keep following Sue here. We're going to clean out this cave. Oh. There we go. And there we go. Let's see. Any more up here? Okay, so we got a level 10 Naga Raincaller. Okay, and there's Sue. Okay, we're going to follow her. The boss. We're going to attack him. And of course, they focused on me. Wonderful. Come on. Yeah, I'm gonna keep my distance from some of the other team members here because you know that one spell can insta shot me. I see the Naga were not much of a challenge for you after all. Okay. I've learned everything I have time to teach you, and as much as my brother is willing. Master Togo wishes to meet with you in Lanuk courtyard just off the main monastery proper. Use your map to travel there quickly. Good fortune, Zing Katobi. 600 experience, 50 gold. Okay, I'll go on my way. So you don't have to truck it back all the way to the monastery. So you can use the map here, you click on it, you fast travel, which is very, very nice. Okay, so that's just kind of the few starting missions with the Necromancer here in Guild Wars Factions. I hope you enjoyed it, folks. Let me know what you think. Again, this is kind of my first run here, and I'm always open to feedback. Things that I can do better, things I can do worse. You want to see more? You want to see something a little bit different? Just let me know here, but I might put this series just to kind of get things going here and see what you guys think. Anyways, take care, guys. Stay tuned for the next in the series. I'll put it up soon, and I'll speak to you next time. Take care.